We're an experience design agency. We've been around for about 20 years. This year is our 20th year. Started in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, of all places. Little shop, couple guys who had an idea, and they ended up winning Mercedes-Benz USA out of Montvale. So it put us on a little bit of different trajectory than most Canadian companies. And over time, we have 8 offices globally. We're now 850 individuals, so we're no longer just in Calgary. Looking at experience design, which used to be primarily websites, which is now all things digital, as we moved into mobile and even to social, into digital in-store. And as digital kind of grows, we've been growing along with it. People will still ask for digital agencies because they want people who are inherently digital who get it, and that's from our DNA. That has always worked. That's what we've done. But we get pulled into all sorts of areas. We have some relationships where we are just the digital agency. We may be doing experience design work for a large bank or a large telco, a large consumer electronics work where it's mostly mobile apps and websites. But in other cases, we're a global agency of record doing everything from traditional work in print and retail, commercials, all the way down through the social channels. So we've been stretched because clients see what we do. They love what we bring, and then they kind of pull us into it to say, well, you can do this, you can do more. And we see the same thing happen with all of our competitors. They're all being asked to kind of do. So it's a messy world. You can't really say traditional or digital anymore. People want to kind of define you as that, and that works sometimes, but not all the time. I'd say level of complexity. I also say the pervasiveness of digital. Like digital before used to be a channel. You still will have companies who will say digital, and there's a section of them, but we're starting to see those barriers break down. So when you're being briefed on something, the media budget goes across all the different channels, and the creative idea needs to go across all the different channels, and executions have to be able to use in different channels. So if we go create something, video is a great example, that has to be used perhaps in a TV commercial, it has to be played in store, it has to be played on a social channel, it has to be played on a website, on YouTube, wherever. Even we just recently shot one where it's all the pieces were cut up for TV, in-store, Instagram, Snapchat. We have it defined. So digital has gone everywhere, and I think that's just what's forced us all to move that way. Or we've always been there. We just started in Sao Paulo. We have been in Costa Rica at the hangar. It was a subsidiary that we started a number of years ago, 8 years ago. And so we've always had a bit of a foothold in South America and a little bit of Central America. And a lot of our clients will ask us to do executions there. So even way back when we were working with Dell back in 2000, we would want to be able, we'd have to take our concepts and make sure that they were able to be used and regionalized. So we are seeing that, and we're starting to see that a little bit more and more. Hasn't been a big area of focus for us, but I would probably say it's more of a secondary focus this year, and probably move into a bit more of a focus in 2 years' time. Every dollar is being scrutinized by our clients. Every dollar that they spend, they have to justify, and which I think is a great thing. But that kind of adds a level of pressure, and sometimes will diminish the level of risk-taking that they can have. And we often try to play with our clients that kind of way of saying, listen, 70% of the stuff we're going to do, we know is going to work, it's going to hit there in the channels, it's effective use of media spend, effective use of dollars. Another 20% that we know is going to have a little bit more risk associated to it, play a little bit more. I mean, they're calculated risks. We're not just creating something for nothing. We have a relentless focus on the customer, so we're always trying to figure out where our customer targets are and our opportunities are. And that third piece is that last 10% is really where you go and take the high risks. So you kind of have your bases covered and you're driving. And the clients who will buy into that, who are willing to kind of stay the course and make sure that we're doing and executing well, so we're hitting our numbers, but then being able to go and push themselves to try to do something, and I don't want to say just different, but something that's going to excite and engage the customers in a slightly different manner. Those are the ones who are great. And it's not easy for a client. If I was in a client's shoes and I was having my media budgets scrutinized, I would probably be the same way. So I would, it'd be a tough mindset. But there are clients of ours who will come in and they'll challenge us to, do something bigger and better. So they're like, hit the basics, but stretch a little bit farther. And not an easy ask. The work that we just did here with Nissan with the Die Hard app, we just won an award last night. That was a great idea of courageous for an automotive brand. They did the largest North American sponsorship in the world, or in North America, for them, and it was the top 100 colleges. And that's very important from a national level perspective and also a regional level. So nationally, they'd be able to talk about all colleges and kind of be able to get into that demographic. Regionally, it would also allow their dealerships to be able to start to actually have material that would help them with their local dealership. And that's very hard to do. We created an app. And in that app, it actually went at the heart of college sports and fanaticism, face painting. And we allowed people to digitally paint their face according to the school. They could pick it, they could change it, and then they could share it socially. It's up to close to 1 million downloads now in the App Store. It's been a major part of their kind of community. It's actually been the central piece of the activation for that project. And it doesn't show a car. It only has Nissan at the beginning, and it is purely an application that engages and drives fanaticism in the group. So it associates sports, college sports, with the person, and it also then allows, at a more tactical, regional, transactional level, if a game's coming up between Alabama and Arkansas, they can take some of the posts that have been put out there, put it into ads, and they can use it for their own advertising. I think that was very courageous for an automotive company to be able to kind of move slightly away from showing a car and showing the features of a car. So that I think was a great example of that. We're also now, it launched it's the Mexican National Soccer League. So it actually works for the Mexican National Soccer League as well. So there you go. And so we took it in the US, and that's where our global footprint, now we took it into Mexico for the Mexican National Soccer League, and the next iteration is going to be at a more global scale for an upcoming event.